Welcome to Learning with UNP. In this session of Python for Data Science, we are going to understand about if-else statement that includes what is control flow, what is a conditional execution, what is an if statement, and finally, what is if-else statement. Let's begin with understanding what is control flow. Control flow refers to the order in which the statements or instructions of a program are executed. In simple terms, it determines the flow of the program, that is, the path that the program takes based on certain conditions or loops. Control flow is essential for writing dynamic and flexible programs. It allows programs to respond to different inputs and perform repetitive tasks efficiently. Understanding control flow is crucial for any programmer as it forms the foundation for building complex algorithms and making decisions in code. When a Python program is executed, it starts from the first statement and proceeds sequentially, one after the other, until it reaches the end of the program. However, control flow allows us to change this default sequence of execution based on certain conditions or loops, allowing the program to make decision and repeat tasks. Control flow is like giving your program the ability to make decisions and repeat actions. It helps your program choose different paths based on certain conditions and do things multiple times. Control flow helps your program decide what to do and when to do, making it much more powerful and useful. There are two main aspects of control flow in Python. First comes conditional execution. Conditional execution allows program to make decisions and choose different paths based on certain condition. It is achieved using if, elif, and else statements. The program evaluates a condition, and if the condition is true, the code block associated with that condition is executed. If the condition is false, the code block is kept and the program may proceed to check other conditions or continue with the default flow. It allows the program to make decisions and choose different paths based on the values of variables or the outcomes of expressions. This is fundamental for creating dynamic and responsive programs. Let's begin with understanding if statement. An if statement is a programming construct that allows you to make decisions based on certain conditions. It helps you control the flow of your program by executing different blocks of code depending on whether a given condition is true or false. If statement is used to execute a block of code if a specific condition is true. Let's look at the syntax of if statement. If condition, inside it, a code block to be executed if the condition is true. The condition in any expression that evaluates to either true or false. If the condition is true, the indented code block under the if statement will be executed. If the condition is false, the indented code block under the if statement will be skipped and the program will continue with the next part of the code. Let's now look at the pseudocode representation of it. Step 1. Determine the condition you want to check. Means decide what condition you want to check. Step 2. Write the if keyword followed by the condition. Means use the if keyword followed by this condition. Step 3. Indent the block of code to be executed if the condition is true. Means indent the code you want to run if the condition is true. Step 4. Execute the Python script to see if the condition is true and the corresponding block of code is executed. Means Run your Python script to see if condition is true and if the indented code runs. Now, let's understand it better using an example. In this example, we have a variable with the value 345. If statement checks if number is greater than 0. If number is greater than 0, which is yes, the indented code prints the number is positive, runs displaying this message. Let's execute this. Yes, since 345 is greater than 0, the output is the number is positive. Now, let's move on to understand what is if-else statement. An if-else statement is used to execute both the true part and the false part of a given condition. It is used to execute one block of code if a condition is true and another block of code if the condition is false. Let's look at the syntax of if-else statement. If condition and the code block to be executed if the condition is true. Else, the code block to be executed if the condition is false. If the condition is true, the code block under the if statement will be executed and the else block will be skipped. Whereas, if the condition is false, the code block under the else statement will be executed and the if block will be skipped. Now, let's look at the pseudocode representation of it. Step 1. Determine the condition you want to check. Means choose the condition you want to check. Step 2. Write the if keyword followed by the condition. Means write if followed by the condition. Step 3. Indent the block of code to be executed if the condition is true. Means indent the code to run if the condition is true. Step 4. Write the else keyword followed by a colon. Means write else colon to handle the false condition. Step 5. Indent the block of code to be executed if the condition is false. Means indent the code to run if the condition is false. Step 6. Execute the Python script to see if the condition is true or false and the corresponding block of code is executed. Means run the script to see which block of code runs based on whether a condition is true or false. As you can see on the screen, here is an example solved using a flowchart. It represents a simple if statement. The flowchart starts at the start node. The input variable input 1 is assigned a value 8. The variable time is assigned the value of input 1, which is 8. The flowchart checks if the time is less than 9. Since 8 is less than 9, the condition is true, which means it is punctual. Based on the condition being true, the flowchart prints the string punctual and then reaches the end node. Therefore, the output of this flowchart given input 1 is 8 is punctual. Here are few examples demonstrating if-else statement. In example 1, we are checking if a number is even or odd. We have a variable with the value 77 and the variable name is number. The if statement checks if the number divided by 2 has no remainder, which means it's even. If the condition is true, the number is even is printed. If the condition is false, the number is odd is printed. Let's execute it and check. Since in this case number 77 is odd, the else part is executed and the number is odd is printed. Now let's move on to second example. In the second example, we are checking if a student's grade is above the passing threshold. We have a variable score with the value 55. We have another variable passing threshold with the value 60. The if statement checks if score is greater than or equal to the passing threshold. If the condition is true, the score is 60 or more. It prints the student has passed. If the condition is false, the else block runs and it prints the student has failed. Let's execute it. In this case, since 55 is less than 60, it prints the student has failed. Let's move on to third example. In third example, we are doing a membership check. We have a variable isMember set to false. The if statement checks if isMember is not true using not isMember. If isMember is false, the condition is true and it prints please sign up to become a member. If isMember is true, the else block runs and it prints welcome member. Let's execute it and check. In this case, since isMember is false, it prints please sign up to become a member. In the last example, we are checking discount eligibility. We have a variable age set to 20. We have another variable eStudent set to false. And we have third variable has discount code set to true. The if statement checks two conditions here. First, it checks if age is less than 25 and the person is a student. eStudent is true. If the first condition is not met, that is, either the age is 25 or older or the person is not a student, it moves to the second condition. The second condition is whether the person has a discount code. Has discount code is true. If both conditions are true or if either of the conditions is true, it prints eligible for discount. If both conditions are false, it prints not eligible for discount. Let's execute this. In this case, since age is 20, that is less than 25, and e student is false, not a student, it moves to the second condition and prints eligible for discount because has discount code is true. This is all about today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.